Doom, 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 doom. Hi, hi, hi. Those of you getting recordings. Okay. Hello, hello. It's so interesting, people in the group. Sorry I'm a little late because I had another session before this. People were here last week are not here this week. People are here this week are not here last week. Interesting. Oh, they're coming in. They're coming. They're flooding in. Hi. Hi, Amanda. Good morning. Hi, Alex. Hi, from down Australia. Hi, Rick. I'm Tiara. Edita. Oh, yeah. Ruth's in the car. She's going to the airport. Okay. I just finished a session, so let me just drink a cup of water. Okay. So this is the session. This is session 2 of essentialism and effortlessness, and this is one of my favorite topic. And in fact, probably should be the first thing I teach you guys, but um, it is what it is. And I really appreciate this session because it really frames what it means to have good, not just balance in life, right? But to really be in flow with life rather than fighting life all of the time. I think we live in a culture where people are either too lazy to get things moving, or we live in a culture where everybody's hustling, thinking that more hard work and more effort, I'm gonna get my results, right? Um, I said something a couple months ago, a couple weeks ago, and it's something along the lines that if you want to learn, if you want to get success, you got to learn how to work hard first, right? But before you learn how to work smart, you got to earn how to work smart. You got to work hard first. But working hard will get you to a certain limit, and then it doesn't work anymore. Then you got to learn how to work smart, right? And then you're gonna learn how to work hard, and you're gonna learn how to work smart, and then it gets you to a certain point again, and then there's another limit, and then at some point it doesn't push you further than that, and then you got to learn how to work fun. And fun is not this whole thing like yay go play, and then you go to la la land, and then you just don't, you know, get engaged in life anymore. In fact, to me, my definition of play is really about being really engaged in something without the pressure of trying to get something out of it, right? We do that as kids all the time. And that is when we are the most creative. That's when our character will be tested. And I grew up as a sports person from young to all the way that I'm here today. And I always had that mentality is that whatever I go into, whether it's a small game, I'm super competitive. Not because I want to win. It's nice to win, but I really just enjoy the game for itself, right? I would feel bad for myself if I only give 50%. Like, what's the point of playing the game? That to me is not play. It's just like showing up for, I don't know what that is. So even leisure, right? The things that you do for fun can be playful in that sense. And also at the same time, it's engaging that it requires your full presence, your full focus, that you are in it. You see that children do that all of the time. And it's super amazing to just watch, and they seem to have forever have energy. But for some reason, when we grow up, we just kind of lose that. All right. Now, the reason why I'm talking about play is because today we're going to talk about flow. We're going to talk about, last week we talked about essentialism, right? What it means to focus on few important, well, not important, few essential things in life, and then discard everything else that is not that. And why essentialism and effortlessness and flow works together, because essentialism teaches like, okay, what are my choices? What am I choosing to spend my time, energy, attention, and money on? Right? Because whether you like it or not, you guys, all of us have finite resources. Finite team, and time, energy, attention, and money. We have finite versions of this, and not being able to be strategic with intention, right? Then we just don't know what we're building. I've seen so many people who are successful people but not fulfilled because you're just doing everything. And everything that they do is just expectations of other people, not what they want and who they are for themselves. And last week we spoke about the passion and purpose, you know, two circles and an intersection in the middle is what I call your potential, right? Your authentic self that is a gift for the world, and that helps you to monet. Then when you monetize it, you get to be rewarded for it, right? And that potential is your highest point of contribution, and it's also your what it means to be essential, right? I truly believe there's no purpose and meaning in life but to be who you are, to be who you are. And who you are comes a set of gifts, values, right? Ideas, creativity, story, experiences that you're here to contribute and share with the world. You are not random. And one of the things that I'm so adamant on, one of my goals for you guys is to help you come home to your greatness. You're ordinary, all of you are ordinary. But if you continue to be ordinary with an extraordinary habits, extraordinary effort, then you become extraordinary. You guys are all great in your own ways, and there's no one like you. And in Buddhism, they teach us that your incarnation is one out of a trillion, right? That means you're a rare being, but we don't always see that way about ourselves. And on top of this topic, I just want to share one thing that I took out of the 2 day mastermind with a business mentor here in Singapore, and he linked me to sales energetics, kind of like an off-topic thing, but it's so irrelevant. But he talks about the universe, and he says this one quote that really sums it all for me the entire year. It feels like I come all the way to this mastermind just to hear these words, this sentence. And by the way, when I was coming in here, sorry for the suspense, I saw a double full rainbow up in my airplane. And if you guys saw my stories, I was like, wow, this is it. I'm going to get something from the universe. I did. I did. Okay. So the quote is this, please write it down. The universe only rewards you for being you. The universe only rewards you for being you. If you're inauthentic, the universe is going to reward you, it's going to give you a feedback for something else. And you're going to feel like punishment, but it's actually just karma, cause and effect. When you're inauthentic, you're going against yourself. You're not creating flow. You're creating resistance. You're creating inhibition. You're creating obstacles in your life. How does it show up? Physically, emotionally, psychologically, relationally, and existence. Right? We spoke about that in the subconscious module, right? So this phrase is genius. I was like, wow, that's the clue for happiness, joy, freedom, fulfillment. And on top of that, the sprinkle on top of the cake, that's your success. Your job is to be you. So why do we have a conversation about essentialism first? Because essentialism is about who are you? Who do you want to be? And what is your life about? And what are you choosing based on a certain set of values, your personal philosophy that really matches your actions, your intentions, your behaviors, your habits, and all the way down to the business, family, relational, health, spiritual success. You guys get what I mean? Right? It starts here because we can keep pushing based on certain expectations, but at some point we will crash because we play the people pleasing side of things. Okay, so I need to share with you a couple of things when it comes to flow, right? First question, I want you guys to take a couple of minutes just to reflect on this question that I have. Okay, and then I want to hear some insights before we go into the theories and all this kind of stuff. First, check in with yourself. Are you staying alive or coming alive? Are you staying alive or coming alive? Meaning, are you surviving or are you thriving? All right, staying alive. I'm just here to stay alive, right? I'm just do whatever it takes to survive. And then I'm coming alive means like I'm passionate. I have a purpose. I have a mission. I have things I care about. That I want to show up. I have a mission in life, and I'm just gonna go. All right. So question is, are you staying alive or coming alive? And in what percentage are they? Are you here, leaning more here or leaning more there? And then ask yourself, why am I here? Why am I not more in the coming alive? Do some self-reflective moment because we all have that staying alive need. And my encouragement is like, okay, how can I bridge the gap so that I can come more into aliveness, more energy, more flow focus on the things that I care about, and I can get more results, not just success, but fulfillment. Okay, let's spend a couple minutes journaling, and I just want to hear from everybody. All right, let's take a couple minutes here. Okay, for those of you who are kind of done reflecting and you gotta kind of get a clear answer on what you guys have to share, just let me know in the chat that you're done. And for those of you who needs to continue to write, please continue to write. Let's take another 30 to 45 seconds to finish what you're writing. Awesome. Okay. So I'm gonna go around the room for people to share what insights and reflections that they have. All right. And also, while you guys are sharing, also give me some reflection as well about how did the last week's homework do for you, right? When you understand the constraints, what am I focusing on? What am I saying no to? And and by all means, I also want to hear about what brought up for you as you're doing the exercise and how are you doing differently moving forward. Does that make sense? Everybody got it? Okay, Kelly, go first. Wait, you're in my room. Wait, I'll call you last. Adrian.
So for last week's the homework first. So when I'm journaling down the non-negotiable values or activities, right? I noticed that there are a lot of things that I I do I do need I do already eliminated it a lot this year. Yeah. And as I connect more to my values, I eliminate it more. And I notice also that in the past, if I choose to do on that particular things or or just follow the non-negotiable values, I usually will feel draining and the results are usually not fruitful or doesn't feel inspiring for me.
Okay. So what
While
have you done? What have you started doing differently from ever since you have noticed that?
uh first of all, if I know that this thing doesn't align to my value, I will choose not to do it,
Okay.
or yeah, or choose not to do it, or just negotiate if that thing can be aligned to my value in
Mm.
order to for me to execute that thing, right? Uh, if it doesn't align, I will turn it down or doesn't do it. That brings me more energy.
Okay. So your no's are stronger now because you're understanding what you're saying yes and no to.
Yeah,
Okay. Good. Good.
yeah.
So are you staying alive or coming alive?
For now, right, I journal that I would say 70-30, 70% staying alive, 30% coming alive. But
Okay.
I can feel that the staying alive part is slowly shifting lesser and lesser. I would say early of the year, it's around 80-90% staying alive kind of mindset. I
Okay. So
think,
you're gonna get more coming alive.
yeah, yeah. And one insight when I'm journaling, I think striking that 50-50, it's really healthy that I can stay present to experience life and at the same time experience growth. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. I like your take. Thank you for sharing. All right. Cool. Alex. By the way, keep your share. I know there's a lot of things to share, but keep it like 2 to 3 minutes. Otherwise, it's just a lot of people. Um, so Alex, go for it.
Um, Out of my journaling, I got that I'm slowly, steadily coming alive.
You're
That
slowly, steadying, coming alive.
steadily coming alive.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how much are you leaning towards staying alive right now?
I'm leaning towards leaving it behind.
Oh, leaving it behind.
Yeah.
Okay, but how much percentage are you at right now in staying alive?
Uh, Probably 40.
Okay, so you have pretty much quite a bit on the coming alive side of thing, which is great.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome, awesome. And how was last week's exercise for you?
I haven't done it yet because I've been backwards and forwards on the road. So I plan to sit down and do it all properly on the weekend.
Okay, okay. Make sure you schedule that,
Yeah.
right? Non-negotiable because this is you. You're the
Yeah.
centerpiece and the masterpiece of your life. If you don't do this, right, something will crack and the gap will start to show in your life. So make sure that for again, not to call you out, but for the rest of us in the room, life does kick in. But the question is how soon do you come back to your center? How soon do you come back to your alignment to really take care of yourself and be clear in who and how you want to go about it, things. That is really important, right? So make sure you're scheduled and hope you feel better in whatever that's going on.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, Rick, go for it.
Okay, talk about the exercise first. I the exercise actually helps me to focus more on my own business. I tend to realize that I used to care too much. Especially I'm always in the savior mode. I try to
Mm,
save the world.
right.
So actually that is very exhausting.
Mm,
And now I learn how to let go and keep it things that I really value the most. I think that really helps me
great.
to control my energy, to
Hmm.
do things and to think about my own business.
Right.
That's the thing. Okay.
So it sounds
Now,
like the insight is, when you are savior mode, you are in staying alive, but when you are focusing on where you are in your center, you're more on the coming alive side of
yeah, yeah,
it.
yeah.
Okay.
And I just want to share something really happy yesterday.
Okay.
I have this prospect. It's a very difficult. I would say it's a weird guy. It's really weird. Okay, the very weird background, weird profile, somebody, and somehow we click. So yesterday, I invited him to my business preview, and I talk about my business, about the value, the system, the methods, and things like that. And after sharing all this, right, his feedback is that wow, I really can feel your energy.
Mm,
He says that you are not sharing a business, you're sharing a mission, you're sharing a passion. And when I talk about my business, he feels that I'm alive. It's really very high energy. He really thinks that I really in love in this business. And then he asks, how long have you been in this business? as a morning trainer over years. And he says, wow, that's really impressed him a lot. So I mean, just bring back to this alive thing. I think I have found my stuff to keep me alive, and I would say the percentage would be 70 and 80%. It
Great.
just that need some improvement, how to get
Mm.
better. Yeah, that's my case. Thanks.
Thank you, thank you. What about last week's homework?
I'm sorry.
What about last week's homework?
Oh, I've not really gone through that. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So make sure you go through it, right?
Sure,
Understanding what the constraints are, right?
Okay.
So that so I just want to share something about the constraints. It's like you have a massive river in life. If you don't build the channels for the river to flow, those are the constraints. You're gonna get a flood. Right? So when you can channel it, the direction of the energy with the essentialist constraints and you know where you want to go, that's where your life force will be more focused and you'll be more steady. Right? Constraints doesn't mean it's better, doesn't mean it's limitation, it's about directionality. Okay? Cool. Editor. Got anything to share? Coming alive, staying alive?
I think that I'm between this both because it's a transformation still is going on. So I think that I'm between. Surviving is more about responsibility, practicality, and yeah, it's more about responsibility and make this transformation more effective and without go away from my old version to the new. So step by step and in my own rhythm. But the last week homework, I feel more grounded.
Yeah.
Have more clarity and less distracted from the external noise.
Great. That's my goal. Right? Remember we spoke about signal and noise, guys, last week? When you can tune into your signal, your Wi-Fi is high. And then these constraints as well is gonna tune out those noise that is not irrelevant to you. And it's really you reduce mental fatigue, and you reduce your decision-making time, then you stop overthinking. Gives you more energy. Great. Awesome. Great
Thanks.
share. Thank you. Simon.
Yes, for me, actually, last week's homework and today's exercise are very close together because I finished the homework just yesterday. So, answer to the question in general, I'm more leaning now to the coming alive part, I feel. And what is helping me right now in the combination of the homework and the exercise today is really to focus more on the things, what I want to address and what I want to change, right? And the main job and going for the own business. So this is really very insightful. And like what you said, to reduce the noise, find the focus points, what are the things to move the needle into more thriving. That was really very helpful.
Awesome. So how are you doing things differently from now on? Now that you know that this is you have clarity on this.
There will go at the moment because we are preparing the end process in my main job. A lot of focus on actually cleaning out agenda, focus on some topics. What can be more delegated to have more time to myself to focus on the areas. This would be the first action, and then do the same in the rest. Right, free up the schedule to really can focus on my priorities.
Got it. Yeah, we're gonna talk about hedonic calendaring a little deeper in this next couple of modules, right? So that you guys can best utilize it because it's not about cleaning your schedule up; it's about filling in with essential things.
Right.
Then
Yes.
naturally, the things that you free up will go away because now it's the essential things. You guys get what I mean?
Yes. Exactly. Yeah.
You know when you have an empty table in your living room,
Yeah.
we tend to fill out with junk, the receipts, the keys, the wallets, the things, the bags. It will just be there. But it's supposed to be an empty table. You see how bad we are at collecting clutter? But when you put something essential on the table now and meaning and intention, now you won't put anything there anymore. This is what I mean. This is exactly the same thing with your calendar.
Yes.
You okay? All right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Kevin.
Thank you.
Hello. So I just picked one at first, and then I liked Adrian's way of splitting them. I would say that the last few weeks were more staying alive. But it's been shifting into coming alive again. So I would say I'm at 80-20% now.
Okay, awesome.
But it's all good things, and it's all things that I did for my job, and that's, it costs a lot of energy, but it helps getting to the place where I want to be. So very, very, very nice. But I'm feeling like I'm not wasting as much time in my mind as I was before. So I'm feeling I'm getting more clarity, and I'm getting more better at prioritizing what I love, choose, and desire, rather than look at what I want. And just, yeah, it feels good. It feels like there's a good shift coming. So
Great, great, great. Awesome. I think the whole thing about, it's not that staying alive or coming alive is any wrong or right, or anyone is better than the other, like what Adrian said, have mentioned. Because, just to define it a little bit for everybody in the room, staying alive is all the things that you're concerned about, all the heavy things in the world, in your job, and all the mundane things that kind of like pulls you down. It's like, oh, what the heck am I in here? Right? And coming alive is just that renewed passion and purpose and curiosity that, there's some level of novelty there. But the point is that we flow in and out of these things, and how can we actually, by choice, when we are in the staying alive mode, what kind of like energy are we putting in? Kind of alignment are we actually going through it? And then when we're in the coming alive mode, can we stop ourselves from getting too high? Yes, 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 yes. I'm gonna choose everything. Or are we gonna stay grounded? Oh, no, no, no. This is what is essential, right? This is I'm only keeping my travels to this, right? Yesterday, me and Kelly spoke about something about it's not about budgeting, right? It's not about budgeting. It's about making better choices. For example, right? You spend a lot of money going out to eat, for example, because it gives you this coming alive sense. And it's a need, by the way. You want to feel coming alive, and there's some level of novelty when you go out and eat. But oh my God, it costs so much. Then I was like, instead of budgeting your $100 per meal to like $30, $20 that you can't even get outside on having a good dining experience, why don't you spend that $100, right, cooking at home? And then every meal is just cheaper, and you can still have that coming alive feeling at home. So it's about choice management, guys, right? Rather than trying to manage your budget, your time, your energy. If you cut here, cut there, and then you're not gonna feel very happy doing it. And what usually happens when you do that, old habit starts to kick in, right? For example, oh, I want to lose weight. I'm gonna go fasting. You did your fast, great. You lost your weight. The next thing you're gonna come back and you're gonna gain those weight again, right? So it's about, okay, how can I make better choices so that I don't put so much you know, alarm on the nervous system that gives us a snap back rather than actually leading us to where we want to go. Make sense? All right, everybody. Cool. So as you guys know that as I'm talking to you guys, I'm introducing some flow concepts already, right? So make sure you take note of all of those things. Menda, your turn.
Yeah, I think I'm a bit like Edita. So after the choices that I've made, I am halfway living, halfway staying alive, halfway coming to life. Because I know now like what I don't like, what is I'm a bit more cautious in terms of like when I receive feedback from the universe, like when there's like trigger like maybe I should do this that instead. I don't want to treat it as an impulse, but I would like to understand, okay, what do I really want? Is it just because of something? Is it there's an underlying emotion and whatnot? I think I'm still trying to figure out my own boundaries in that sense. Because like when I receive a feedback, as I said, is it really a knee-jerk reaction, which is like a defense mechanism? Is it like a pattern that I should unlearn, or is it really my true desire? This is something that I'm still trying to manage in terms of like reacting to strive towards coming to life.
Okay.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It sounds like you have difficulty listening to your inner voice and you don't know which is which. And
Yes,
is my inner
totally.
critic talking, or is this true? Or is it like my
Yeah,
gut?
yeah,
Like, oh my God, this is real and this is what it needs to be.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's more like, is it just because I'm just like, because is it trauma informed because of my past burnout, or is it really my heart desire, something like that?
Yeah, yeah, it's hard to differentiate those two, right? And I think over time, as you eliminate a lot of things and you come back to your essence, right? Which is why essentialism comes to its essence, you'll get to know more of your true desire because the world works in mirror. When you listen to that inner critic that that is based on your past trauma, you're gonna invite trauma again. I was like, okay, I shall not listen to that anymore, right? And this is just kind of like it's just about cultivating awareness and living life, giving yourself full permission to make those mistakes as well. And even if they do come, right, it's not a big deal, right? You know how to navigate yourself out of it and shift it, and then you learn as you go on what it means. Oh, this is really my true voice, right? And that's how you're going to cultivate this. It's only through the living experience.
Something that I really like from the previous session that I think I kind of use now a lot is the analogy of your grocery shopping when you're full. Like, is it really like when I'm feeling something, like, is it really because is it fear driven, or like, am I full right now? It's kind of like that. So it's something that it's a tool that I'm currently using to understand what's happening.
Okay, all right. Bookmark that. Come into our one-on-one sessions. We're gonna work on it. All right. Make sure you bookmark that. All right. So moving on to Ruth, she says that I'm not in survival mode. 6.5 in terms of coming alive. Great. Operate from what others need of me. Savior mentality. Yes, like Rick. He calls himself busybody. Are you a busybody, Ruth? Mind your own business. Just kidding. So yeah, instead of what I desire and gain, without realizing, I only realized it yesterday when you talked to me, right? So the thing is, from what I can see here is that, it's just that conditioning, right? Where you're grown up in a place where you gotta remove yourself first because you're supposed to do that. Then only you meet your own needs. I think a lot in Asian culture is like others first, I'm last, right? Yeah, our parents model that, we model that. And I don't know how about the European countries. I think the more conservative family or more family oriented, I assume that other people's come first, right? There's no Americans in the room, so I'll say that only Americans are more individualistic. I think Europeans still have that family oriented, feeling that really is about dissociating from the self. But seriously, when I live in America, in the US, it's like, whoa, it's a completely different culture here. Everybody's just in it for themselves. I was like, wow, what happened to community? They preach community, they say community, but it's like I don't feel it, right? So I was really confused when I was there. But anyway, not talking shit about them. I'm sure that every country, every culture has a different balance, and in terms of degrees of how many people are more individualistic and how many people are more family oriented. Just like here, I mean, in Asia, in Singapore, people are more individualistic, right? And they're more in their own little bubble, and that's what I've noticed for myself. But it's just an observation. Okay, I have no other comments for Ruth. But the point is that shifting to think what comes more alive doesn't necessarily is the holy grail, okay? Right? I think it's really a more of like being aware, where am I at, right? What are the things I'm concerned about staying alive? What are the things that really inspire me coming alive? All right? How can I really continue to flow between these two different states without pedestalizing one over the other, right? Putting things on pedestals, keeping yourself in a place of equanimity. Everybody write that word down, equanimity. Equanimity is one of the most important things to create flow in your life, meaning to be radically accepting of what is rather than what I want it to be. And then using and understanding what you can control, what you cannot control, and you focus on what you can control to make things work. Make sense? That's why we're having this conversation. All right, Mutiara.
Well, for me, I'm not sure how to quantify it, to be
You're
honest.
gonna have to quantify it.
Yeah, because I mean, there are moments of like, of course, you know, either or, but at the same time, I think my behaviors have changed a lot. Like me as a person has changed a lot. So even in the moments of not feeling alive, I am able to like reach out for support. Most of the time I just text you. But and I'm coming back with like the community and the people that are able to like just basically tell me that things are just, life mundane things, and I'm just like experiencing life experience. So that makes me come back to being able to like, oh yeah, it's just, me being human and life being life. So I don't know how to quantify it. I guess it's just in between in both. But definitely compared to last year, even the beginning of the year, it's a big difference. I would say it's 70% living a life rather than staying alive.
Coming alive, 70%.
Sorry, coming alive. Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, thanks for sharing. Kelly, anything you want to add with the community? It's like coming from there to here.
For me is I like the exercise last week because once I had did the exercise on Sunday right away I implemented and then I've realized most of two of the things that affect me a lot affect me the most is environment and relationship. So on Sunday I clean up my room, make it clean, and then I started not having even eye contact with one of the shitty person in my life, and I feel very good because I feel like I finally have a cut of energy with her, and then I feel like I'm reborn.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah. and and then I am 80% towards coming alive. This one is
nice.
this one no doubt. And then I also reflect a little bit. The 20% that is not coming alive is the systems, the structures in my business, and also income. That's all.
Okay, got it. Yeah, the staying alive shows you what you're concerned about, right? If you really look at it. And coming alive is the things that, is going great for you and the things that actually brings you more purpose, curiosity, passion, and in fact, give you some sense of adventure. Having a both this feeling coming alive and staying alive, having both awareness on both sides is exactly what creates flow for you. Because for flow to happen, you need certain level of stress and risk and concerns. It's not like la la land forever. That's not flow, right? Flow requires some level of stress, and I'll show you guys in a couple of moments, and then we're gonna go through the theory now, and what are those principles. Now, this theory can feel a little dry, so I want you guys to actually think about these principles. How can I apply it in my life? That's number one. Okay, that's how you're gonna learn from this. Number two, hey, I'm gonna give you guys notes. Please don't take notes that I'm gonna give you notes for. All right, write notes that on the perspective of how can you personalize everything that I'm saying into the systems, into the habits, the things that you're already working on, and make it better. Right, things like your hedonic calendaring, the way you do commitment auditing, right? All the strategies of like your morning routine, your protect the first hour of your morning, digital detox, and all these kind of things. How can you do it better now that you understand concepts like this? Does that make sense for everybody? Right, because this is just not just theory. This is just dry theory, but I want to give you some context around it. Okay, so let's just start by understanding what the heck is flow, right? Let me just open up my notes. Right? What the heck is flow? Flow states have four primary experience. Write it down. It's called STIR, S-T-E-R. Let me just go put up my whiteboard. All right, STIR. Oh shit, it's kind of big. All right, S-T-E-R. I'm gonna make this bigger. All right, first one is selflessness. When you are in flow, there's this feeling where you're not there, right? Your sense of self, your ego, kind of like goes away. That means you're super in the moment. You forget that your sense of self. You forget even that you're there. You forget that you're breathing. You're just in the moment. You're doing the work. You're in the activity, right? This is where you as a noun becomes a verb. You guys get what I mean? You as a noun, you're not a thing anymore. You're an action. Rather than you are a human, you are actually just human being and just doing things and living it, right? Another things that you can re-experience in flow is the sense of timelessness. You guys get it? Timelessness, where time just passes. You don't even know. Whoa, this 4 hours already. I thought it was just 5 minutes, right? There's a saying. There's a really nice quote that says that when you are happy, there's more emotions to it. I'm gonna find that quote and send it into the group. When you're happy, time passes really quickly. When you're sad, you're in pain, time passes forever, right? So, but in flow, there's really no concept of time, right? And I'll show you guys some neuroscience around this, because it's so interesting, and that's why we have this experience, right? Of course, the E stands for effortlessness, right? Rather than feeling like you're pushing towards something, the flow is giving you the sense of like hard things became easy, right? It doesn't feel like you need to put a lot of effort. It feels like you're riding the wave, right? Last but not least is the sense of richness. It's a very rich human experience. And this is why, by the way, a lot of people love extreme sports because it gives them the sense of richness. I'm fully alive. I'm in the moment. It's what Rick is when he's on stage. Yeah. The guy felt it. Wow, this guy is so rich with energy and it's just breathing energy talking about his thing. Just like me when I coach, there's a sense of richness. Does that make sense? All of you, I'm sure, have experienced some level of this. Yeah, give me a thumbs up that you guys experienced some level of this. Okay? All right. Now, there's micro flow and macro flow, right? Micro flow is something that you experience day in, day out. You go in and out during the day, right? Let's say you're engaged in a task. I'm gonna do my filming. I'm gonna do my video editing, and I'm super focused in it. I lost my sense of self. I lost a sense of time. Suddenly, I get into a cadence, a rhythm, right? And then the creativity juice just comes in, right? And it feels rich, right? And the macro flow is something that is more of like a life, like a bigger cycle, right? Like every month, I'm in the momentum. Whoa, sales just keep coming in every week. Boom, 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 boom. Suddenly it's gone. I'm not in flow anymore, right? So this is micro flow to macro flow. To get to macro flow, it's the incremental compound experiences of micro flow. You know what I mean? Every single day, every single hour, when you can practice this, eventually you get to experience the macro flow that usually is experienced through something like synchronicity, right? Where synchronicity is like, oh my god, when I did X, Y, and Z, and I'm here in the right place in the right time, everything just happens perfectly. Anybody experienced that before? Right? Right? That's what I mean by macro flow. Okay? So we need to define what flow states because if you go into performance science, it says one thing. Go to neuroscience, it says one thing. Go to the traditional ancient text, it says another thing. But this flow is not a new concept. It's a concept that has been dated since the ancient days, right? As early as the foundation of yoga, right? Being in union means be in flow, or in Taoism, right? In the Chinese side of philosophy, we have this thing called Wu Wei, right? Meaning we are in a place of effortlessness. They call it effortless action, right? What it means to create effortless effort and what it means to be fully alive and in the moment so that nature can really brings you through where you want to go rather than you trying to make something happen by yourself, right? But in sports science, it's called optimal state of consciousness. It's a peak state. It's the best potential. The human, in terms of human potential, is your best, is the best version of yourself, right? And personally, I like to describe flow differently because most people when they think about flow, oh my god, that seems like peak state. I want to get there. If I want to get there with mushrooms, I want to get there with alcohol. I'm gonna get there with substances and activities and all these kind of things. So I think the Western, when they study this thing called flow, they externalize it over and over again. Where else do we see flow? We see it in sports science when people get into, like being in the zone. For some reason, Messi, unstoppable. Stephen Curry playing basketball, unstoppable. Or the badminton guys, right? People like Lee Chong Wei and Lin Dan. Why is one better than the other in that moment? And they get a series of shots in. No matter what they do, it's just in. That's flow, right? Something just, a switch just flip on. And the studies that have been made through from the scientific perspective, people were giving puzzles and then they induce a certain flow state in people. They finish the puzzle way faster than those that did not. That means it's not your thinking brain that actually puts you in a high performative level. It's actually when your brain shut down. When in flow, you know what happens? From a neuroscience perspective, there's something called transient hypofrontality, right? It's a very fancy word. You don't have to remember that, right? What does it mean? It means that your prefrontal cortex goes offline. It's your thinking brain, it's your judgment brain, it's also your inner critic brain. When you're in flow, there's no inner critic. Boom, it goes offline. You know what else goes online? The other rest of your brain. So the limbic brain, the reptilian brain, and the other side of your cortex, neocortex, they start talking to one another. Means you're making decisions faster without even processing the frontal lobe of the brain. means you are actually receiving information faster. You trust your instinct, you trust your intuition, and you're just in it, right? Navy SEALs, Army, they work in teams, right? And they go into battlefield in this state. They know how to induce it. They know how to turn on and turn off it by will, which I'm going to teach you guys how they actually get there. And then when they're in it, they stop thinking. And they work like in a way, which is so fascinating, like a hive mind. Means that they know what each other is thinking. If you watch any team sports, how is it that person just passed behind and he doesn't even look at it? He knows his teammate is there. Because the entire team works as one. There's a concept of oneness when everybody is in flow. Now, this can happen in corporate spaces, in meeting spaces, in your family meetings, in between two person, right? Have you guys watched tango or ballroom dancing? Partnership, and they just dance and they just can trust one another. Flow states, right? On how many of you know murmuration? Birds flying one another all over the place as if they're one thing, right? But who's leading? There's no one bird say, hey, let's go turn left, everybody turn left. Everybody turn right, everybody turn right. No, nobody does that. They just know how they go as one, right? Fish does that in the water. Swim in a flock, right? They just know, they just go together. How do they know? It's not this. It's a feeling thing. So there's a part of our brain that really sense all of this thing, and we are not utilizing it. And the part of actually having this conversation with you guys, so that you guys stop pushing and understanding to use the other parts of your body and other parts of your intelligence to move through life in a better way, right? In a more effortless way. But the best part is not this. The best part is the richness side of things. Because guess what? A lot of your neurotransmitters are online. All your hormones are activated, right? All your hormones are activated. It's actually a healing chemistry. Flow states is healing. So when we do Lifeline and we go all of this and we go into that transcendental wow moment, that is also flow states, micro flow. Right? You guys experienced this before, and you're like, wow, suddenly things don't feel as heavy as before. I feel this lightness because all the neurotransmitter and hormones that's supposed to be activated in your body has been activated, and it creates a cascade of neurochemistry in the body to self-heal. This is why people who are super passionate and curious and are living a life of mission doesn't seem like they need sleep. That's what, as they are working, they're healing. And if you listen to the ancient stories about the saints and the monks and the yogis, they don't need sleep. They're recharging as they go in life. And it seems like something impossible. But the studies of flow shows us that it's possible. Right? And on top of that, flow states helps us go from impossible to possible. Because that's when we take more risk. That's when we just go for it. We say things that we don't normally say. We do things we don't normally do. We make choices we don't usually make. And then something just happens. We make a breakthrough. In a very simple way, flow is removing all the resistance from your system and you just let whatever needs to be to be. Let me just show you a diagram right here, okay? In a very simple way. This is flow. Draw a line. Boom, right? But this is also means your intention, right? Your behavior, your emotions, your thought, your mindset, your actions are all aligned. They're not fighting with one another. I mean, there's more that I can type, but these are the 5 key things. What is not flow is this, right? You're trying to flow. I'm just put here not flow, right? Is when you want to go all the way here, right? You want to go all the way here, but these guys are over here. Some are here. Some are right. Some are here. Some are here. Oops. Point is, there's a lot of different vectors going to the opposite direction of your intention and your direction of your energy. Right? Let's just say this is energy. Okay. This is your energy that you have. The top one is flow, right? The top one is flow. The down one is not flow. Not flow. Because of all these different noises, expectations, energy, inner critic, intention, behaviors that is all different energies going to the different direction. And guess what happens? This arrow is going to be shorter. You're still going to get there. It's just more effort. It's like trying to press on the pedal, but you're constantly stepping brake because you don't trust. How are you going to drive? What's going to happen? Your tire is going to wear out. You're going to waste more fuel. The driver is going to be frustrated, right? There's no smoothness. You guys get the picture? Okay, you guys get the picture? Great. Okay. So the way I describe flow is this, because every day in life we have stresses, we have pain, we have fear, we have all the different things going on, and those are the things that affects our attention, our behavior, our intention, our actions, our behaviors, our habits to go towards the other direction. If we have no external pressure, we will just go flow. Our actions and intention will just go there. But we are constantly triggered, guys. How many of you today, just starting the day, you're triggered already? Yeah? Triggered? And boom, you're not flowing anymore. In fact, your attempt to fix it. I have this freaking problem. I gotta fix this. It doesn't work that way. So flow, this is my definition. Flow is matching your state of being with the task at hand. Matching your state of your being with the task at hand. In session 3 and session 4, I'm going to talk more about this, what it means to, when things don't go your way, how can you still flow? Right? It's easy to be enlightened. It's easy to be flow in a nice environment with nice people, a nice community, with loving experiences. What happens when it's stressful, when it's painful, when it's triggering, when it's annoying, when it's frustrating, when it's hot, when it's sweaty, when it's too cold? What's going to happen? How can you still flow? That's where, in my definition, what flow is. Doesn't matter what comes at you, you're good. This is why it goes back to equanimity, right? So just to share with everybody that flow, again, is a skill that is measurable and trainable. It's not something that you get or you don't get. It's not something that reserves for the saints, for the yogis, for the, for the people in the forest, in the mountains. No, it's for you too. And one thing I'm really passionate about teaching is this, because I think it's a secret sauce to eliminate stress cycles and for people to not choose health or work, but to have both when you are, going through life. I think that's the best case scenario. It's this thing that really resolves everything. Right? So that's the introduction of what flow is, right? Is to understand that you have all these breaks that you take, all this resistance, all these habits that is not conducive to where the usage of your energy. Make sense? Right? Rather than having your subconscious or your body, your biology, or your behavior go against you, you learn how to train it to work for you. Right now, if you're tired, if you're exhausted, if you have so many things going on in your life and you don't know where to focus, you're distracted, you're not flowing. And your biology, your subconscious mind, your behaviors are going against you. This is why you're not where you need to be in your success 80% of the time, right? Because the 20% is the strategy. Of course, when you get that down, 80% of the time, we don't get where we want to go because we are all our worst own enemy. And then we think, we blame. It's that person's fault, or it's the economy that's not doing well. It's the politics, it's these people, this community. We found all these external reasons that's not true. Make sense? And this is why this talk is so important. And the precursor, the one thing besides equanimity that you need to make sense of before understanding flow is essentialism. What do you choose? Because there's no point talking about these things if you keep choosing all of those different things in life that doesn't make sense to you. All right? If you have no goal and direction that you want to go, where are you going to send your energy, my friends? There's no point talking about flow. Where are you flowing to? Where are you flowing to? So really nail down the first session, and then and you can see first session 1 and 2 is really theoretical, is really like understanding these concepts and insights, and not to tune yourself out in all of this, because the question is, how can I bring these principles into my life and do it a little bit better than before? Okay, so now we're going to talk about how to create flow. What is the precursor? How do we stimulate it? How do we train it? If you guys remember, I keep telling you guys, please create your environment to create you. This is exactly it. You can't get enlightenment. You can't get happiness. You can't get joy. You can't get flow. But you can do the activities. You can be an environment. You can curate experiences that will create enlightenment, flow, joy, and all the other things. Make sense? Right? Because I can't just flip a switch. Okay, flow. No, you can't do that. We just don't have that thing, right? But we can curate environment that really serves us. Because the thing is, if you want a habit to work for you, you gotta make it as simple and easy and delightful as possible, the experience. If your habits, like for Kevin, like you wanna go in the morning and go to the gym, if it's really hard to go to the gym, you're not gonna do it. It's already hard. And then your environment is creating more resistance in you to go to the gym. Then what did I share with you? It's like, hey, walk, spend the night, sleep early, don't go out, right? Focus on these things, read a book, put your gym stuff and all prepared in the door, and then have a gym that's really close to you, and you're gonna do it. So this is what it means to flow, right? And I'm just using this example because everybody is, you know, probably not exercising as much as you want, so go to the gym. Make it easier on yourself. All right, everybody, make it easier on yourself. Go work out, and it's really helpful for you. Right. So, what are the triggers? There is personal trigger and social triggers, right? We're going to talk about individual flow, how you experience within yourself. And then, because I know some of you are leading teams, how do you create group flow? Are you guys interested in that? Those leading team, how do you create group flow rather than the teams fighting one another and no one's going anywhere? And how do you actually move all of that, even if in conflict, to flow towards a certain direction rather than fighting one another, right? To have that hive mind, like the birds flowing together, right? Rather than, oh, I want to go right, I want to go left, I want to go sub. And you're not going to get a murmuration because of that. Make sense? So, personal trigger first. Anytime you want to create anything in a group, in a flow, in a group, right? Like establishing group flow, you got to start with the individual first. All right? That means you have to understand what it means for yourself to get it first. Then you can help others to develop that. Make sense in the room? Leaders, leading team, even with your clients, by the way, it doesn't matter if you have a group of people, it's just one-on-one, you can create flow for your clients, but it starts with you. If you remember Leading Through Fire, the module, I talk about nervous system, that humans are not humans. They are all energy, they are all nervous system. And if you can shift your nervous system inside of you and tap into flow state, the more likely your group can tap into flow states. If you don't get it, they're not gonna get it, right? They're not. They're just simply not, right? This is the same thing when you go up for a public talk, for example. If you're not in that state, people underneath can feel your energy, and it doesn't matter what you translate, it will still not cut through, right? So it's very essential that I speak about the personal triggers to activate flow, right? What are those things? So in the personal trigger, there's internal and external. I'm going to bring the whiteboard up for this again. Start with the internal, personal, right? Personal triggers. And you're not going to see this in anywhere because you'll see that there's internal and external flow, and that's what they describe. But I found there's a correlation between the internal and external flow and bring them together. So I'm going to draw a line right here. Right. Flip this to the other side. Okay. Right. So that's internal flow. Internal trigger, sorry. That is correlated to an external trigger. Number one, you guys can probably guessed it already. Having your personal philosophy, meaning understanding your passion, your purpose, your highest point of contribution, the essentialism, right? And being curious to explore. One thing that I don't mention enough, right? This is why I say it has a lot to do with self-inquiry, which is really curiosity, right? When you are curious, you are inviting more flow. When you have clarity, right? Another thing that I should mention here is clarity, right? About who you are, what you want, what you need, how you're gonna go about things with intention. You're more likely to have flow, right? If let me just share another gym metaphor. When you have your workout program ready and you go to the gym, are you more likely to do it? Yes, right? Or you go to the gym, you don't have a workout plan, and you like think, oh, what machine next, this, that, and you add more mental load and decisions into what you're gonna do, you're not likely gonna perform well in your workouts. But when you make choices and options and you know what that looks like, and you go out into the world, it's easier to do things. There's less resistance, right? So I've often said this in Essentialism and also in all the personal philosophy workshop. Choices are made before options are presenting themselves. Make those choices. And this is why last week's work, what are those constraints, right? Why are you saying yes to? And how do you protect the yes with your nose? This is what I mean. The first one, internal triggers, right? Because the external trigger to this is that we need novelty. And novelty is really about something new, something completely a fresh new experience. And this is why, my friends, this is so addictive. This thing, all right? Social media, we scroll every time. Every time we scroll, we are stimulating some sense of novelty, and dopamine. Whoa, flow in doom scrolling. I don't think I want that. There's no way I want flowing in my doom scrolling. But when I say novelty, means that when you go out into the world, you don't really know what to expect, right? You have something new, something fresh. And when you have personal philosophy with intention, you know what to go out in the world and what to look at and what to see. And when you bridge these two together, right? You bridge these two together with intention and novelty together. Again, this is not spoken in any literature. This is my take on it. Synchronicity. And synchronicity, you'll feel like, wow, I trust God and trust universe. I'm in the right place in the right time. I was like, wow, this is great. Novelty is newness. Okay. All right. So when you combine these two together, you get the sense of synchronicity. So you're gonna go to number two, right? And number two is really self-autonomy and self-responsibility, right? Autonomy plus responsibility give you self-agency. Meaning what? Meaning you're not relying on external things to make you happy. You go like, I'm responsible for my life, I'm responsible for my choices, I have self-agency, I'm proactive, I'm not a passive observer, I'm an active participant, right? And you have the self-agency. I'm gonna look for answers. I'm gonna go towards something, right? It gives you more of that trigger of like, okay, right? I have motivation to get to do something. And that is correlated with the external trigger of uncertainty. And I think unpredictability. Yeah. Unpredictability. It's insane, right? Because to get flow, you got to be in a situation that's unpredictable and uncertain. Because if it's predictable, if it's certain, if you recognize the pattern already, well, what's the fun, right? You're just gonna go into, you're gonna switch off basically. You're gonna be like, okay, it's just another thing. I'm a passive. I'm gonna be more passive, and I'm just gonna go about this whole thing again, right? And in a very interesting way, right? This goes back to the idea of, hey, can you have beginner's mind, right? And put yourself in places of uncertainty and unpredictability, but it's not scary, it's not too unsafe because with self agency, you build self trust. You only feel overwhelmed in uncertainty when you don't trust yourself. Can you guys agree? Right? Let me just give an example. When you travel to a new country, you don't know the language, you don't know how to navigate yourself, and if you're inexperienced and you don't trust yourself to make the decisions, you're more likely afraid to get lost. Getting lost is not the problem. Not trusting yourself on what to do when you're getting lost is the problem. And you guys can see what I mean? Right? Take the metaphor and bring it to your life. Another thing that is prerequisite to create flow is something called the deep now, the deep focus. And the enemy to this is distraction. This is why we meditate, because it cultivates something called concentration. If you're constantly distracted, you're constantly start, stop, you're not going to build momentum and you're not going to get into that state of flow, right? And this is something that you can control. From the external perspective, right, is to have some mystery, wonder, right? And because of that, you're thinking about the complexity of life and the unknown, right? When we put ourselves in a situation where there's something that we don't know what's next, we're more likely going to the state of flow rather than um when you know what's going to happen next. When you have all the answers, it's kind of boring, right? Your brain is not going to look for new patterns. When your brain is starting to look for new patterns because it's an unknown, it's a new puzzle, it's more likely you're going to go into the place of deep now, deep focus, and deep concentration. Make sense? Right? But also you can cultivate deep now and deep focus through the lens of beginner's mind. Just could put here beginner's mind, right? Meaning seeing old things in a fresh mind. This is something that you can focus on and create and train. Number 4, right? Immediate feedback. This happens for teams and this happens for yourself as well. When you get immediate feedback, meaning like when you do something, you get a response of like understanding what's going on, you're more likely to trust something better and you're more likely to go towards the unknown and the unpredictable stuff, right? So and the only way for you to understand where you get feedback from is something called the embodiment through the senses of your body. Why is extreme sports so flow triggering? Because when you are in it, it's life or death, right? Novelty, unpredictability, unknown. But because you're close to death, your entire nervous system is fully online. I gotta be present. I gotta be focused. I gotta be in my body and I can't overthink. That's the feeling that people are chasing. And actually you can stimulate this feeling at home. When you are washing the dishes, when you are showering, when you're brushing your teeth. Same thing. You can self-induce this without going out there. It's really about a practice of being here, being in the moment through the body. Make sense? Something that I'm going to talk about is challenge to skill ratio, meaning that we need some level of challenge in life to activate flow. We need stress. I mean, if you can see all of those things already over there, um, definitely flow requires a certain level of stress. If you're in a room where you know everything, you're in the wrong room, right? Basically. And with the challenge skill ratio, the external trigger is you need to take risks. What do we do every week? Risk transformation session. I don't want to come to Chiron's session because I'm going to take risk. Makes sense. Your part of you is trying to protect you. And this is why I'm trying to keep it every time you come in. I try to keep it, okay, what's 4% harder than you usually can deal with, right? What are those risks? What are those things that you can push yourself a little bit uncomfortable, but safe enough to be in control, to work through it and get to where you want to go, right? Flow states will get to be triggered in that sense. Last but not least, I'll say, I think it's neither internal or external, is consistency. Again, this is not in the literature, it's not something that is talked about. The more you can show up locking into the fundamentals of things, the more when you need to perform, you don't need to think about what are those steps. You just perform. Like, for example, if you have a script that you need to write and you're gonna speak to understand, if you can rehearse the script 10,000 times, when you go out and perform the script and do your speech, you don't have to think about the script, you just speak. Make sense? For Kelly, you singing, right? You don't need to remember the lyrics anymore. Then you can focus on the feeling of lyrics. For Rick, speaking to the business presentation, done this 10,000 times, right? When I go there, all I do is transfer energy, right? You're more likely in the flow state, and when you're in the flow state, something again that people don't talk about is that you feel this sense of oneness. That's the external, the sense of oneness, and it's about coming alive. Right? You guys seeing your own experiences in this and how to have more of that. All right. And it's not about chasing flow. It's really about, okay, how can I set up my life in a way that this is just kind of the daily experience so that all of you can have this experience of coming more alive in doing and working towards the mission and where you want to go. Make sense? Okay. Rather than, dread this mission, even though it's important to me, but it's kind of like annoying. Well, activate all of these things. How can you actually induce certain things, consciously moving into certain type of stress or unknown, unpredictability, so that you can get more joy out of what you do, right? I had a choice not to go to Singapore this week because I was so injured. I was like bedridden and those kind of thing. I was like, oh, you know what? I'm just gonna do it and see how my healing goes. In fact, you know what's funny? Over the days that I was lying down screaming in pain, is that I heal faster because I set an intention to go towards the unknown. So interesting, right? So please write this down. It's very important to work on your fundamentals every single day. This is why I get you guys to show up to the session consistently. Number one. Number two, protect your first hour of your morning and really honor your hedonic calendaring. That is the consistency that you're trying to build. That's the muscle of flow. If you drop it, oh man, you're gonna stop the distraction. You're gonna be distracted, and your flow is not gonna go into that flow. You're gonna lose the micro flow. You're gonna lose the macro flow, and you're not gonna be in a state of synchronicity. And then the universe is not gonna reward you for being you because you're someone you're not. Make sense? Okay. So write this down. Go slow to go smooth. Go smooth to flow. Flow to go fast. Slow, smooth, flow, fast. In sports psychology, this is emphasized over and over and over again, whether it's in rowing, right? If you guys watch Physical 100 or the Physical Asia, if you guys, anybody are watching that, right? You need to flow first, right? And to flow, initially the starting is slow, right? But what can be done instead of rushing to your destination, you get an exponential curve, right? You get an exponential curve going upwards. But if you're starting fast and you're rushing things, you're gonna go into a linear line and then you're gonna crash at a certain threshold, and then you're gonna stay there and you're gonna plateau and then crash. So consistency over urgency. I need to learn that for myself as well. But the only way that you're consistent and not urgent is when you know you're essential. You go back to your basics, you go back to your fundamentals, you go back to your fundamental values, fundamental purpose, fundamental passion. Not all these shiny objects that you get distracted about all the time. This is what it means to master the mundane. Makes sense, everybody, right? It's boring, but you might as well use the beginner's mind to really tap into the flow. And from that perspective, it's not going to be boring anymore. It's going to be rewarding because it's richness. So this is what it means to do less and have more. Okay, so let's talk about social triggers. How do you activate group flow in an environment? Of course, like I said, it starts with you. Right? So let me just put out the whiteboard again so that you guys have a visual representation of what I'm talking about. And this is where I say, when you try to activate external flow on the group's perspective, you got to do what? Create your environment to create you. In this case, you got to create environment to create the group. Right? And the first thing that you need to understand for everybody is to align common vision, goals, mission, values, aka your culture. Yeah, Mandy's not in the room, but Rick is here. I'm gonna send her a message, right? Remember when the first thing that you guys spoke to me, where's your culture? Where's your standards? Right? What do you want everybody to know? Because everybody have a different version of success. And when you can't bring all of the different success in one umbrella for everybody to move towards a common vision, your communication is gonna break up. It's a lot of noise, not enough signal, and then not gonna flow. You're not gonna develop hive mind, right? For Simon and Kevin as well, if you guys are leading like organizations in your team, right? It's very important that every single month or every single week check in. How is everybody's common, personal vision, goals, and purpose aligned to the common vision? You need to reiterate and re-communicate that over and over and over again to a point that it's just embedded in them. And then when they go ahead and do things, they just know. You guys get what I mean? Part of the leader's job is not to tell them what to do, is to help them align their personal goals, tasks, mission with the company's goals. Make sense? Right? And only that when they can see a linkage, they'll find meaning. Wow, I'm part of this thing that I did. Amazing. There's more flow and there's more intrinsic motivation rather than pushing and telling them what to do. Number 2 is deep listening. Right? When I say deep listening, is also like cultivating this whole thing about creating presence plus coherence. What do I mean by that? If you don't listen to your team, no one's gonna create flow. Everybody's gonna have their individual thinking. Deep listening helps you to understand where their concerns, where their blocks. If you guys are in sales, this is one of the most important things in life. Listen, because you need data and information of what they are struggling with. You're not gonna sell if your client is confused, and when they are in a place of complexity, they're not gonna buy, right? Simplicity buys, complexity doesn't sell, right? So always go back to simplicity, and this only can happen when there's deep listening, because deep listening is eventually with presence and coherence create clarity and emotional and energetic transference between people. Right? Same thing when you navigate conflicts, same thing when you ask for permission, when you give feedback, is really about listening and asking good questions. Make sense, everybody? Questions is better than answers. Questions is better than advices. Right? And even when you know the answer, you're like, oh, what do you think about this? Right? Lead them. Because what really needs to happen in the work environment is something called sense making, right? Help them make sense of their position, what it means to contribute to the whole. That stops you from being a savior, number one, right? And number two, it helps them to take responsibility of what they are, what they have, and then they'll contribute their own genius, their own gifts to the organization and the community. Make sense, everyone? Right? Make sense about sense making? Third one, open and safe communication. Edita, you love this one. Non-violent communication. And it starts with this. Yes, and rather than no, this doesn't make sense. No, to create group flow, especially in brainstorming sessions, never criticize. Even if it's a stupid idea, it's a good idea. At least it's an idea, right? Because stupid ideas will eventually lead to great ideas. A lot of the great ideas came from insane ideas, by the way, because they are things that you've never done before. So it's really good to just really flood in with just ideas, and open communication. Yeah, I can see your perspective, because the most important thing about open and safe communication is for everybody to understand that their perspective is valid. Get what I mean? Their perspective is valid. And then you're going to match it with all the different things that's going on the outside, see if this is relevant, specific, and then does it match the state? Does it match the challenge at hand? Right? Some people will give really wild ideas, but it's not in this situation, but another situation. And let's just say, because of all this communication that's been done, when the opportunity comes, then you go like, because we had this conversation, it's not relevant then, but it's relevant now. We can utilize it and move forward. You guys make sense? And this is what it means to stimulate creativity and group flow in the space. Number 4, right? One of the most important things, sense of belonging. plus authentic self-expression. Look, everybody wants to be useful, yes? Everybody want to feel like they matter. So usually in a group space, if it's a bunch of leaders, everybody's gonna have an ego clash. My idea is better than your idea. I'm gonna, and then they're gonna fight for that. And then in the end of the day, the meeting is about I fight for my idea for the sake of the ideas, right? And it's really not about solving problems. So how do you actually navigate that? If you guys remember, right, I shared with you. There's two needs as a human being. One is authenticity. One is attachment. Healthy attachment. Healthy attachment has a lot to do with sense of belonging. Authenticity has a lot to do with a sense of being who you are. Self-expression, right? So in the group flow, you need to have this feeling of cultivating an environment that they, number one, is meaningful. Number two, you're utilizing their gifts based on who they are, authentic. You place them on where their greatest, highest point of contribution is. And then with all the differences that is there, you create a unified belonging, sense of belonging. How do you do that? Number one, common vision. Goes back to the number one of this list. Why am I here? Can I connect my individual purpose to organize the purpose of an organization of community or the larger vision? This is how you create a sense of belonging. Then there's a certain mindset, and then with the culture, right? There's a certain mindset with a certain values that everybody get to respect. And then when things go out of alignment, right, we know what to come back to. That's the purpose of law. But for now, law is being used to oppress people. But law is supposed to just bring people back to alignment. So you need your own standards. Purpose is not to oppress, purpose is to align. When people see their alignment and then everybody's moving towards the same mountain that they want to go, it doesn't matter what road they take up the mountain as long as they're taking the road. Make sense? And you want to encourage them to continue to explore the road. Doesn't matter as long as I meet you at the top. Some people it's going to take a longer time, great, right? And then you check in from a place of the drama triangle perspective. Are you challenging them or are you supporting them on how to get to the mountain? Last but not least, equal participation. Have you guys been in a group where one person is talking and everybody just shuts up? Or too few people dominating the conversation, and even if you want to speak, you just have no room to speak? What are you gonna feel? Left out, exiled, lonely. You start thinking your own thing, no group flow. So equal participation is that you need to have this awareness as a leader to check in. Okay, well, who are the quiet ones? How can we get them to participate? And this is how we go from the I to we awareness. Look, everybody come into the room, they have their own agenda, right? But you as a leader, if you want to create flow in the space, how can you go into we space, right? Rather than have an I conversation, how can you have a we conversation? There's two tips that I can help. Number one, when people are speak from a place of I, not a place of you. It's so annoying when people say, when they want to tell a story about themselves, but they say you. It's like, well, what the heck, right? Yesterday I had one, right? This one person, it's an older guy, and with three of us are kind of young, right? In our 30s and our 20s, and he's like, and he's saying things from a you perspective, which kind of enforce the I in this equation. You guys get what I mean? Right? Speak from speak from a personal perspective, and don't speak from a you. Because when you speak from a first person perspective, you get to share your authentic experience without making it something for others. Number two, stop assuming. If you want to have flow in a group, everybody has to stop drawing conclusions too quickly. Whether you like it or not, when you go into a room, everybody's judging. Everybody is judging. It's great. Everybody's judging. But judging is not the problem. The problem is you draw conclusions right away, then you're not going to try to know one another. You're not going to look at each other's blind spots. Then there's no we. There's only I. You get what I mean? All right. So one mindset in the group is not why cannot, but why not? Nothing is stupid, nothing is silly, everything is welcome. But how do we bring all of it together and then move towards a certain direction in the end? As a leader, you got to navigate these things. And there's one thing that I want to share before we close, is that for all of those things to work just now, you need something called pocket presence. Everybody write it down. Pocket presence. Pocket as in your pocket, your your pants pocket. And then presence. Let me tell you what this is. Again, sports psychology. Who plays basketball? No? Any of you play basketball? No. Anybody play football? Anybody play team games? You guys play team games? No? All right. So I see a lot of solo people in this room. Ay, this is why there's no group flow. Okay. In sports, there's usually something called the playmaker. All right. You guys understand the playmaker? Right? There's usually something a playmaker. In basketball, it's called the point guard, right? And in football, there's usually a playmaker, which is usually a midfielder, right? The role of these people in the team is to have a vision of the entire field. Pocket presence is a space where this individual in the team oversees the entire landscape and makes quick decisions on what the entire team needs to do. You might think the leader is the one, right? Leading, being the one on stage and do all those kind of things. But there's another type of leader. He's at the back of the room. He's the quiet one. Or another analogy that I can share is that, you know, when wolves travel in a pack, there's the alpha male, there's an alpha, at the front, but they have the most experienced wolf at the last of the pack to oversee everything. That's the role, that what it means to have pocket presence. I mean, everybody's obsessed, whether in sports team, you know, the quarterback, the guys who scored the most goal, the guy who is the man of the match, and so on and so forth. The one that scores the most. That's not the leader. In fact, that person who did the most goals and all this kind of thing are super self-absorbed. They have to be self-absorbed. And you have to let them be self-absorbed. The real team captain and leader is the one at the back, organizing everything so that that person who is self-absorbed can be the best. You guys get what I mean? If you have a team like that, you know which one is self-absorbed. Please don't elect them as the leader. Write this down. The most skillful one is not the best leader because they're self-absorbed. Because they don't have something called pocket presence. And pocket presence is the ability to see everything and make quick decisions because of that. Powerful, powerful role. Most important role in any team. This is why they call these people the backbone of the team. You know, make sense? Right? Because they set the tone of the culture. For that to happen, right, you have to have group flow. All right, I'm gonna go a little bit later, 5 to 10 minutes, if that's okay for everybody. I just want to close a couple of concepts before we close, right? So we know now how to create flow individually. Please do that every single day for yourself so that you know how to bring it to your group. And then now when you're in your group, with all those concepts that I've mentioned, ask yourself, how can I create this for my group? Make sense? Right? How can you lead differently that is going to show up in this way for your group? Now let's talk about the enemy of flow. I probably touch a little bit about that, but I want to just reiterate it so that we know what are the pitfalls. The pitfalls are probably the things that we are already doing. Pitfall number one, distraction will get you out of flow. The more distracted you are, the more you're not gonna get flow. The more effortful things are gonna be. Means you start and stop and start and stop. No. Goes back to the physics principle, right? What is in motion stays in motion until another force is being applied. Inertia. When you start and stop and start and stop, you're wasting a lot of energy just trying to get the inertia moving. Make sense? Right? But when you're in a constant state of motion, flow, right? Go slow to go smooth to flow. You don't spend a lot of energy, but you're moving. Number one, distraction. So, what are some tangible steps? Understand your commitment auditing, remove all of those things that doesn't make sense, non-essentialism, remove all of those things. Number two, curate your social media, stop looking at things that doesn't make sense. Go there to collect ideas, not to doom scrolls. Go there to connect, not to. Use that as an entertainment tool, please don't. It's very distracting. Go there to connect, make use of it, not being used by it, right? Number 3, airplane mode at night, please. 10 p.m., airplane mode. No more text, no more nothing. Go to sleep and then start your morning routine. How you end is how you start. Number 2, repress emotions. Things that people don't talk about. The more you repress your emotions, the more unlikely you're gonna get into more unlikely you're gonna get into a flow. Because if you're stuck in the past and the present is happening, you're gonna project your past into the present. This is why the lifeline thing that you guys do every week with me, every Wednesday, the kind of the boring kind of stuff, but is also essential, helps you to release those baggage so that you can be fully present. Hey, meditate all you want. You have emotional baggage, you have those triggers, you're not gonna meditate. It's hard. It can be done, it's just harder, right? Number 3, unresolved conflict. If you're avoiding hard conversations and you're waiting it till later, it's gonna affect everything that you're gonna do until you have that hard conversation. You can sweep it under the rug by all means, but it's gonna be very taxing on your system. Make sense? So have those conversations immediately when you can, right away. Don't wait to resolve conflict. How many of you felt it, when you're angry and something, the conflict is not resolved, the anger just translates all the way to other parts of your life, whether how conscious you are. I don't like that feeling, right? Number 4, impatience, rushing, and controlling things you cannot control gets you out of flow. Why essentialism? Because essentialism helps you to show you what you can control. But everybody today is obsessed on things they can't control. And then they say why their life is bad. Right? So getting out of blaming and shaming and criticizing and coming back home to like accepting and equanimity, right, is going to help you to move through impatience and rushing. Number 5, inner critic, judging, drawing conclusions too quickly. I mentioned just now. Also breaks flow. One of the most important things of flow is curiosity. If you're drawing conclusions, you're not going to be curious. If you're seeking for answers, you're not going to find the right questions to ask. That means you're not seeking possibilities anymore. Because unknown, uncertainty means a new possibility is trying to show itself. When you go into a place of I don't know, it's actually a great place because you're about to be enlightened. Make sense? Right? If you know everything, if you're like, no, it has to be this way, there's a word for it. I think it's cognitive bias, where you have a certain belief about something and you make the reality just to prove your own bias. Nah, that's not science, and that is not flow. Last but not least, toxic environment and relationships. Hey, do all your intrinsic internal practice all you want. Go back to the relationships that's toxic, the environment that's toxic, high EMF, toxic food, and all those kind of things. You're not gonna get flow. Right? You're gonna be sluggish. So really pay attention to that as well. What you need to remove and eliminate from your space, and also making it easy on yourself. Like for example, for Kevin, to put the gym stuff ready before you go out to the day. It's gonna help you to have that flow a little bit better, right? So create your environment to create you. Again, re-emphasizing this space. All right. Some really simple strategies on what is some take home that you can actually apply these things at. I'm just going to give you guys ideas. But for all of you, please choose one. One thing that you're going to do something differently and test it out and experiment. Do I have more energy the next week because I implemented this? Here are some strategies. Okay. Number 1, hedonic calendaring. Go back. I'm going to do this more in depth in session 4, but go back to your hedonic calendaring and really put essential things in there, like blocking out empty time, empty day for your creative reflection. If you guys have not put this in your calendar right now, I suggest that you guys do this. Please work on your exact map for 2026. Right? If you're not coming for the retreat with me, do it by yourself. Please schedule it somewhere, because if you're not going to do it, make this a priority somewhere. Otherwise, 2026, before you know it, is going to sweep off your feet and then you are reactive again. All right, block it in. Essential. I'm just using that as an example. All right, number 2, go back to your commitment auditing. Right, go look through the I have tos and I need to and I should, I have, and remove all of those things and go back to I choose to and I love to, and really be essential about that thing, right? And honor your yes and no, hate, heart, and gut. I covered this last week. Number 3, protect the first hour of your morning. Maybe some of you need to elevate and upgrade your first hour of your morning. Maybe you have not been consistent. Maybe you have not been doing the things that you want to do in that space, right? There are some suggestion, right? Look at the sun, do some movement, do some breath work, do some gratitude practice, visualize how your day is going to go, and then pick one most important thing that you're going to complete by the morning so that you have a win in the morning and you don't feel like shit the rest of the day. Maybe you can do that better, right? Choose that one thing. Now, I'm going to cover this next week, but I'm not going to talk about it right now, right? There's something called ultradian rhythm, meaning every 90 minutes, you need to take a break. Please do not work more than that, especially when it's more cognitive heavy, left brain heavy things, because your cognition, is going to decline, your concentration is going to decline every 90 minutes. That's an ultradian rhythm. Every 90 minutes, take a 15 to 20 minutes rest. If you can practice this every single day, you have more energy by the end of the day. A lot of us are emptying our tanks. Let's go to 0%. Yes, I did it. I did an amazing day. No, please reserve 20, 30% of your energy before you go to bed. You don't want to kill yourself in one day, right? Less intensity, more consistency. Every 90 minutes, have a 15, 20-minute break, right? And this is what I mean by the next thing is active recovery versus passive recovery. You're going to have all this in the notes, right? But as you hear it through, choose one thing that you're going to do better. There are 8 essential things for high energy living, right? And this is what active recovery is. Number 1, sunlight. Number 2, water. 3, wholesome food. 4, deep breath with clean air. 5, movement and exercise. 6, deep recovery and sleep. 7, power, purpose, and play. Okay? You have to live life from a place of that you're empowered, you have purpose, and you play. 8, love and belonging. Out of these 8 things, what do you want to do better at to increase your energy? This is what I mean by active recovery. Passive recovery is scrolling on your phone, watching Netflix, binge eating your favorite food, and lying on the couch, doing nothing, and not really actually resting the system. The 8 things that I mentioned nourishes your nervous system. How can you tell the difference between rest and recovery? Is when your nervous system is nourished. Okay? And here's a bonus for everybody. Experiment with this. Spend some time to do uninterrupted play. When's the last time you guys played something like play? And play it seriously, right? And let it be uninterrupted. Nothing's more important than your play in that moment. Schedule that thing. Maybe there's something that you want to try and experiment and see how it applies into your work, into your business. I know why Rick is laughing because we spoke about this. Right? Yeah, introduce that into your group space. I think it'll be super amazing. Uninterrupted play. Right? It's gonna help with the flow. Okay, so the homework is choose one of these things and make it better and implement it to your life and treat yourself as an experiment to see what happens next for you and for the team that you are leading. Can we do that? Very simple exercise. You don't have to take everything. And then at any time, come back to this recording and look at your notes to go like, okay, what's some other things that I can play with? I think this is the way of learning that I wanted you guys to absorb, even though it's like heavy hitting theory in the last 45 minutes. I get it if you guys are overwhelmed, right? Nothing more than this. All right, so last but not least, last mindset to take in, please write this down. In the end, flow is this. It's about living life to the most joyful way possible as a human being. It's these 2 phrases. It says, struggle gracefully and rest deeply. Because you're going to struggle anyway. The waves of life is going to come. Question is, how are you going to ride the wave? And then when you have a chance to rest, how can you rest so deeply and in peace? For me, I really like that if I know that I'm living my purpose today and I give it all my all without draining it to 0%, I know I can sleep and rest deeply. Otherwise, I feel like, oh man, I only play half of my potential today. All right, this is all I have for today. Can I get some, some one word, two words insight in the chat before we close, just to integrate what your takeaways are, and then in the WhatsApp group, please let me know what you want to improve on, in terms of the 8 things that I want to share, right? That you guys want to improve on to create more effortlessness in your life. I'll see it in the WhatsApp group. Okay, for Rick, it's deep and impactful. Great, great. I like that. Powerful sharing. Great. All right. You guys know what to shift in your life? Show of hands. Okay, good. Input, reflection, shift, focus, move forward. Great. Important, cultivate flow, group flow. Great. Awesome. Take this recording at any time. I know I went really, really fast. There will be notes. Don't worry. I just want to emphasize one last thing before we go. It's not about learning things right, okay? It's about getting, okay, what do I need to do right now from what I've learned and implement it in my life. That's more important. Okay? The theories are not important. Take one thing and apply it. That will shift things. That's when your life change. Real transformation happens in real time. All right? Okay, this is it. That's all I have for today. I look forward to see all the wins, all the results, and all the shift and change that you guys are gonna make. Please share it in the WhatsApp group. It's been a little quiet lately. I would love to get to know where you guys are at. So thank you for that, and I'll see you guys next week for our training. All right, take good care. Bye bye.